Forget everything you've been told about discus breeding. What do wild discus, glacier-melt, and Corydoras breeding have in common? More than you think. This experiment reveals nature's blueprint for aquarium success. I've been wanting to do this experiment for a long time. What I have done is I've taken a 55-gallon and split it with my partition, which will be coming soon. But I wanted to take a pair, a bonded pair, and put them on one side, and then a forced pair on the other side. Now I know from experience that if you put one discus in one side and one on the other and one spawns, usually within a day or two the second one will spawn. Now that's just something that the hormones are sent through the water, and that happens in the wild too. One thing I have done here though is I kind of went back to my Corydoras breeding, and I'm breeding my Sterbai finally, my wilds, and I've gotten about 100 babies out of them, and I just pulled more eggs the other day now that I have time to work back in my fish room. So one way to breed the Corydoras is obviously cool water coming in, and that mimics the Andes glaciers melting. When that water rises and that water cools down, it is a signal for the fish to start spawning. That means the weather is getting warmer and there's more food available. And obviously the rising water stimulates breeding. Now you have to understand that discus are in the same water. So I know as aquarists we want to kind of keep that temperature always consistent as far as new water going into the tank. We try to match it as close as possible. Now for years I have been putting cooler water into my tanks with no issues at all. But what I wanted to do here was, going back to my Corydoras breeding, I wanted to see if the cool water system would work with discus. Not only did it work, but they spawned exactly probably within 12 hours of each other. Because I think it's a combination of the hormones in the water, obviously from the spawning pair, but also the cool water signals to the fish to spawn. It is time to spawn because cool waters are coming in. Now this is something that's probably in their DNA, and they've taken this from the wild. You know, most of my fish are wild or close to wild as I can get. And I did use the breeding water kit that's on my website along with the RO unit on my website. I've been using that for about a year now with great success, not just with my discus but with my Corydoras, and I just spawned my rams. Not the regular rams you see in the store. These are very, very special German blue rams. Rams I haven't seen in the hobby for probably 4 or 5 years. So I finally spawned them because of the time I have now with the new system we're setting up with our members. And we will talk about the membership at the end of this video, so hang tight if you are a member of the channel now. Okay, so on the right side of the tank, if you're facing the tank, is the blue-faced Namunda red turquoise cross. Now this is my strain I've been working on for about 1.5 years, 2 years now. I have forced this pair together with the blue galaxy or turquoise galaxy, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's more of a domestic strain. Now the reason why I picked this fish is because even though it is a domestic strain, it has still the stripes in it. So that's kind of my criteria of any domestic fish. It must have the stripes in it because those stripes are a form of communication with the discus. And without those stripes, they tend to not do as well, in my opinion. That's not fact, that's just something I've noticed over time. When the stripes are bred out of a fish, they tend not to thrive as much as a discus with stripes. Now that's just a personal opinion. Don't hate me because I make that, because you have fish without stripes. But if you look really close, I bet you will still see some remnants of stripes even on solid fish. I've seen them in my blue diamonds when I used to breed those. So this pair was forced together. Basically what I did is I put them in a 29-gallon, and then I fed them up and gave them plenty of good water changes until I saw some breeding behaviors. They did not bond, they did not find each other in the tank, and they did not pick each other. I put these two together. So on the left side is a wild blue discus, which is pretty colorful for a wild, but also my turquoise heckle that I have bred many, many times. So actually the male on one side and the female on the other, and I have fried from them. What I wanted to see was if the forced pair would act different than the bonded pair. Now the ones on the left side, this was the first time they had been together. They were together once before, but one spawned and it did not materialize any fry. So this is their second spawn together as a bonded pair, and there was about 40 to 50 fry. So not a huge spawn, but good enough to get the genetics out of these fish, which is what I was shooting for, was to get the genetics from these two crosses. But also on the right side, the forced pair, because I wanted to get some domestic color in my wild strain. So what I did notice with the forced pair with the domestic is the call rate was a lot higher, probably more in the 10 to 15%. And that's before I make my calls. So right there tells me that my theory on domestic strains is definitely a solid theory as far as the domestic strains are not as durable. Okay, so what happened? It was about day 3 or 4, everything was going great. And then the next morning I came in and all hell broke loose. The forced pair were nipping at each other. The female was kicking the crap out of the galaxy male, and he was in a corner and she had actually torn some of his fins. Now she did not want him anywhere near those babies, and they were going at it. So I had to pull that galaxy male out because the female was a great female. She spawned 5 or 6 spawns for me, and so she knew what to do, where this was the male's first attempt. And that could have been a factor too, was that maybe the male just wasn't experienced enough and the female sensed that. But my theory is that actually, because they were forced, there was no bond between these fish. So at one point, the female says, "You've done what I need you to do, get out of here," basically. Now this is a theory, I don't know this. I will try this experiment many more times to see if I get any results that are similar, but that's down the road. But this was very interesting. Okay, so now I got the pair on the left side that have 40, 50, and then I got the female by herself with about 100 to 150 babies. I would say probably a good 125, right? So now I got a single fish with all these babies on her, and she can't get free because they're, you know, when they're a true pair, they switch off and they give each other a break, or they split the spawn. So both of them are taking a good chunk of the fish, so split down the middle, or, you know, close to. So this is where I was like, okay, this is another experiment, and I was hoping this would happen, but I was kind of hoping it wouldn't because I didn't know the outcome. So basically what I did is I took about 75 of the fish off the female and then switched them over to the pair. So the wild blue and the heckle blue, the turquoise heckle. And I wanted to see if these fish would accept these fry right away and take care of them. Think of them as like foster parents, right? I wanted to see if this theory would work. And they were in the same tank, same water. But that also gave the female that was by herself a little bit of leeway as far as having all these fry on her side all the time. So it gave her some relief. So I watched them for the full day, kind of in and out watching, and at first the fry were kind of disoriented and they were swimming around the tank and they were kind of not attaching like I would hoped. So I was kind of fearful that maybe they would know the difference between their fry and the new fry. But luckily by 3 or 4 hours, all those fry have combined and sitting on both parents. Because the male was experienced in the bonded pair, he was doing most of the caring. He understood what to do. Where the female was, this was her second spawn and her first successful spawn. So she tended to break away from the male a lot, and the male could handle it, but they did switch off. I watched them and they would switch off. So the point of the experiment was to see, one, if bonded pairs and forced pairs were any different as far as same tank, same water parameters, same conditions, same food, if they would break apart. To see if the bonded pair would stay together. So they did all the dancing and stuff, so they were kind of a solid pair. And then the forced pair that I wanted the genetics of that male into that female, if they would last. And like I said, about 3 days, it was fine. They were working together, but that morning I woke up and, you know, I know there was a big debate on the nightlight, but I think that having that nightlight the first 2 or 3 nights really helped settle those fish down. And then something happened, and then that's where things went wrong. But how did I get these to spawn in almost the same day or within 12 hours? I've been trying this theory for about 6 months and very successful. I'm not going to say something that's going to put your fish at risk. And I say do this at your very own risk, okay? So I'm running these tanks about 82 to 84 degrees. Those are my breeding numbers. That's what I keep the tanks at for breeding. 83 seems to be that perfect range for breeding. What I was doing was my RO barrels with my breeding water kit, I was running about 10 degrees less, so about 72 to 74 degrees. And I was doing 50% water changes with that cool water. You have to understand in the wild that the Andes melt and that glacier runoff, cool water, goes into the Amazon, and that's what stimulates the fish to breed. So why are the Corydoras, involved in this? Well, for years and years, it's been known that if you want to breed quality Corydoras, and mine are wild from Brazil, and I paid an arm and a leg for them, and I wanted to breed these because I tried to recoup my money. And on my first spawn, I recouped 100% of my money. I haven't made any money on them yet, but they just spawned again in my room. And now that I have time, I'm really focused on breeding fish because it's what I enjoy doing. I love to breed fish. I love being in my fish room. And I would say in the last week, I've been in my fish room more in the last week than in the last month total because of everything that's been going on. So I'm a lot happier as far as doing that and then getting my orders out and everything like that, but we'll go into that at the end. So this runoff or glacier runoff theory is something that I wanted to try, and I've been using it off and on, and now all my soft water comes in cool. Even if I have a tank that has fish in it, I run 10 degrees cooler when I change water. I'm talking 50%. So you would think, oh, that's going to drop the tank down too much. It drops it down about half. So if it's 84 and 74, it comes in about, 76, 78, somewhere in there. So it's usually right around that range. And no effect. I don't see the Discus going and huddling over the heater because I run heaters in there. Right now I'm running heaters in there because I leave my windows open at night and it cools off sometimes at night. They're pretty cool. So I wanted to make sure there's always pretty set temperatures in my tanks. So I wanted to make sure that the experiment was done to the best of my ability to get a proven result. I think I've done that, but this is by no means to say that this is written in stone, right? This is one time that I have documented it actually on film. Now I know it's an obsession with matching temperatures, I get it, and I would highly recommend if you're not comfortable with this in a breeding, just go about matching the temperature as best you can and then doing the best you can. But for me, I'm willing to take risks because I've been doing this a long time and I want to see if there's theories that I can come up with that are just a little different than the norm, what you're going to read on Reddit or on the internet. So basically I do stuff because I was taught by professional breeders, and one thing I've noticed about a professional breeder, someone that does it for a living, is they're always trying something new. They're always giving theories and testing stuff because they want to know if there's a better way. So this is a better way for me. I'm not telling you to do it, but I'm just letting you know my result. And you can see how many babies I've gotten out of this. Now, the female did fine, and in 10 days I pulled all the fry. And what happened was, obviously, because they were already mixed 75% with the 1 to the 40, so whatever, 75 fish to 40 fish, so I crossed those over. So what I did is I took the whole batch on both sides and put them in their own 20-gallon. They are thriving. Now, with that, we only had a couple deaths. So with this experiment, I have learned that there are other ways to breed Discus. Now, I highly suggest that everyone tries to breed Discus at least once in their life. It is pretty much incredible, and I've done thousands of spawns, and every time I still spawn these fish, I am blown away on how the parents take care of them and how gratifying it is to breed Discus. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. Everybody at least try once to breed Discus. Now, these fish are expensive for a reason because it is not easy. It's, if you want something easy, you breed a guppy. But if you want something hard and challenging, we breed Discus. And it's so much fun. It is something that you will remember for the rest of your life. Trust me. I spawned my first Discus probably 26, 27 years ago, and still look forward to it every day. The challenge is the best part because it's something that's not easily done, and that's why they're expensive, because not everyone can do it or even interested in doing it. It brings me great joy. It's something that I really, really enjoy doing, and that's why I'm so glad to get back into the fish room. All right, so now we're going to talk about the memberships. I said that I was going to try to have it by the first of the month. That's not going to happen because the last orders were pretty insane. But one thing that's been great is I don't feel like I'm on a deadline to get packages out. I get them out in order best I can, and they are what they are. If you don't like it, that's fine. As a member, I know you understand what's going on, so I'm okay getting out stuff as best I can, but also finding a balance where I can sit in my room, do videos, work on my fish room, do experiments, you know, think about the next video, something that really has meaning and is different. So all those things are stuff I couldn't do when I was overwhelmed with packages coming in. Now, there was a lot of packages, you guys, and I appreciate every single one of you. And I really appreciate all the memberships. I'm gonna do something special. I just haven't figured out what that's going to be yet or how exactly it's going to work. Trust me, if you signed up, you will benefit from this, okay? Because to me, that is the ultimate as far as community. Someone that's willing to invest in me, now I'm willing to invest in you. So that's coming. Just give me a couple weeks, okay? I will put it together, and I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work because when we start getting into codes, it seems like I spend more time helping people get into codes and apply codes to websites. It has to be done a certain way, and it has to be done in a certain order. So I don't know exactly, but you will have a code to get into the back end of the website. Now I'm going to still have a front end website, but what I've decided to do is bring down the portion sizes and have my daughters run that part of it. They will do the packing. Everything will be pre-packed, and that way orders are just picked off the shelf and sent out, but everything's gonna come down size, because that way I have more ability to make these products and have them stored. Where what's gonna happen on the back end is things are probably gonna increase, but the price is not gonna go up much. I don't know yet exactly how that's gonna work, but I gotta go over the numbers and everything. So that's why I don't wanna rush it out, and then, you know, you guys are like, what's going on here? Because I don't understand this. I want to make sure everything's very clear. So for now, we're going to just keep the front open for another week. There's 6 spots left, so 5 spots left. So 45 of you have signed up. That's amazing. Now I'm probably going to open up 24 or 25 more at this price and then shut it down for a while. And then the next round will be higher, 250 to 300. So right now there's 5 spots open. If you haven't signed up or interested, listen, 25 bucks gets you in. This way is a lot better for me, and it's going to be a lot better for you because I'm going to be able to focus on a community. I'm not going to have random people coming into my website buying stuff and complaining. But what also is going to happen now is I'll be able to create guys, I have like 7 or 8 products that I'm trying to get out, but I just don't have time to work on them because there's just no time. So by doing this, scaling back, doing the small stuff for my daughters, and that's going to go to their college education basically. So they're going to get 50% of all profits go to their college, and they're going to do that full time. Now, that's something that we haven't totally figured out, just like the front end and the back end. I haven't figured it all out because I've been swamped. So I will get that all put together. And what's going to happen is, and one thing I'm noticing is, you know, I know you guys from the website, right? I know who you are because I see names and we contact. And another thing is I'm going to give you so if you get in the back end, you're going to get my personal text, and we're going to line up everything where you can text me when you need me. Now, obviously don't abuse it, but also let's say you're having an issue and you can text me and we can set up a phone call and maybe talk about things and figure it out between us, because I'm not going to say I have all the answers, but maybe between us we can get a good solution or a good theory to move forward to take care of any issues that you might have. So the big thing that's happening right now is, because I know who you are from the website, it doesn't always correlate with your YouTube handle, right? Because you might be John Smith here, you might be Tony3472965 on this one, and so I can't put those together. So we need to, members, when we get our text all set up and you have my text number and I have your text number, we have everything lined up, I want to get those correlated as far as your actual name and your YouTube name. Now sometimes I can figure it out, but 9 times out of 10 I can't figure it out. So you might comment on something on the website and then comment something on the YouTube, and I don't put them together because I can't put those names together because I don't know it's the same person basically. So we're gonna figure all that out. I want this to be a tight community that helps each other. Not just me helping you, but other members helping you. So another thing is YouTube comments. Guys, I don't have time to answer all the comments. So I need kind of moderators to come on board. Now, you don't have to be a part of the channel. You can just help when you see a comment. Maybe someone asks a question. Maybe you can help them by giving them your best, answer. Or you can text me and say, hey, there's a question on here. What do you think? And then we can come up to a conclusion together. But I'm not saying that I'm going to have all the answers, because that's not. One thing I've learned in anything you really want to get good at is as soon as you have it all figured out, it's time to get out. Because the challenge is gone, right? There's no more challenge. Why would you keep doing it? Because the excitement comes from being challenged every day. So to say that I have it all figured out even after 30 years is ridiculous, because I don't. I still learn something new every day. Like this experiment here, I have about 4 or 5 more of these that I want to do, but I just don't have time. So I want to make time, because this is what's important to me. This is what I really love doing. All right, so that's it. I ranted enough on this one. There's a new one coming. I'm going on vacation for a couple days, but I'm going to be coming back at night. It's local campground and stuff, so it's not nothing major. I'll come back at night, pack orders, and feed my fish and stuff like that. So if you want to order, oh, and also the med kit. If you need a med kit, I've dropped it down to $79.99 or something like that. So if you need that, this is a great time to buy, because that will be on sale for probably a few more days. All right, guys, thanks a lot. I will talk to you guys soon. I'm excited on the direction we're going, man. This is amazing. I've already my stress levels have fallen big time. I'm working full time and still taking care of all this stuff. I'm working in my fish room. I love being back in my fish room. So we'll see you soon. Take care, guys. Bye.